The greatest power in the universe is life, and it's in you. Every moment, every hour, every day, month, and year, you gain more experience, more ability, more power. Go be great.
You're listening to the Go Be Great podcast with Travis Wolf Sr., inspiring you to strive for greatness in everything, everywhere, every time.
Go be great!
Great day, great day, great day. Welcome to the Go Be Great podcast, episode 5. I am Travis Wolf Sr., and you are great. Truth time. I have not been the greatest example. I have not been the greatest example. Many people, they look at where we are today in our lives and they're like, oh man, you guys are doing, and they try to tell us, or tell me how great we're doing and tell us how, our family, whatever they feel about it. And I'm so grateful that God has allowed us to be a vessel for God's work in this world, and God has allowed us to be a light and a reflection of God. But I'm still not always the example, the best example, and I'm striving every day to be. I am a work in progress. But when people ask me about how do you teach your children to be so respectful? How do you teach your children to be so polite or so this or whatever? Or how do you teach your kids to be so successful or whatever? How do you give them that drive? And the truth is, people, especially children in this world today, they're not buying lip service. We can talk all day. In fact, I do talk all day. I do this for a living. And my kids are like, they don't want to hear that, right? Lip service is one thing. Talk is one thing. But being the best example, action is how you get people to respond to you in the way that you want them to respond. By being the example of who we want our children to be, that's who they become. It's not about how much you talk. When we were younger, our parents used to have this thing. They would say, do as I say, not as I do, right? Do as I say, not as I do. I know everybody watching this video has heard it, if not from their parent, somewhere. We hear that all the time. Do as I say, not as I do. But no, not as you do, because you're supposed to be my example. How are you going to teach me to be a good husband if you're not being a good husband? How are you going to teach me how to be a good father if you're not being a good father? I think that as much as I want my children to be better individuals, I think that the combination of being an example for them to follow, and then also giving them the freedom to become who they want to become, has been key for us. And I haven't always done this. And, my daughter and my son my oldest daughter and my youngest, and my oldest daughter and my son can attest to this fact that I haven't always been this way or believed this way. But, in more recent years, I've been doing my best to just be the example and give my children the freedom to be who they want to become. There are certain things that I just kind of don't want to budge on or won't budge on. But when I tell them that, they resist that. Children people are naturally rebellious in the way that we want autonomy. One thing that we want more than anything in the world, probably the number one thing, maybe number two, happiness is the first thing. But the next thing is probably freedom. Like freedom, whether it be time freedom, whether it be financial freedom, whether it be the freedom to just do as we want, as we please, whatever we want, whenever we want. People want that freedom. So when you're telling the child, you can't do that. Oh, no, I won't stand for that. You won't do that. They might listen to you out of respect or maybe out of fear or maybe out of love, but they're not doing it because they want to. And it might not stick with them. When people give me ultimatums, I rebel immediately. I resist immediately because I don't want to be told, well, you're going to do this or else. Like, wait a minute, I'm an adult. I'm a human being. I can make my own decisions, and I should be allowed to. So when you do it to children, just because they're children, we have this idea that you're my son, you listen to what I tell you. You do what I say, because I'm your father, and that's it. Like, that's not it, though. Because these are human beings. These children of ours are human beings, and they want autonomy. And they don't want to just listen just because. They want to understand why they're doing what they're doing. They want to know the consequences. They want to know the benefits. And then they want to make their own decision to actually do it. And that's one of the things that I found has been helpful with raising our children, and my wife as well, is that we give them the freedom, and sometimes we have it. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I know I don't. Like, when my kids want to, go hang out at parties, late at night, no, we ain't doing that, But as my kids are getting older, I kind of have to give them that space. My daughter's 18 now. There really is no, you can't. It hurts. I'm not going to let her watch this podcast episode. But there isn't really no telling her you can't do it, that hurts so bad. But it's true. I can't tell her no. I try my best to give her the consequences and let her know what can happen. Let her know what's possible. If you do this, here's the possibilities. But I do have to let her have her own experience. And she desires it more than anything. This girl, once she turned 18, she started taking all her freedom. I want this, I want that, I'm just taking all this. She basically kicked me and my wife out of her life for the most part. I'll use y'all when I need y'all. I'll come to you when I need to get a question answered, when I need your help. But otherwise, I got this. She's got this thing now. She's telling me, I got it, Dad. Let me show you. I got it, Dad. All right. And I walk away. And it's so hard because I know how to do it. I know how to show you how to make it work, but she wants to do it herself, and that's what children want. As they get older, they're able to express it more, and they get more confidence and more comfortable telling their parents, no, I got it. When they're young, they just be like, oh, okay, show me how, but we're not empowering them like that. If we're showing them everything and giving them everything and not letting them experience it on their own, if they're not experiencing it, then they're not benefiting from it, truthfully. You're telling them what to do, and they're not getting their own personal experience. And most people want that and need that. So if I can give, people have asked me for advice. I don't like to give advice when it comes to parenting, but I will say one thing that I have done has given my children the ability to make mistakes, given my children the ability to have an example to follow, choose whether or not they want to do that thing that they want to do, and be able to have the experience to see what comes out of it and then make the choices that they have to make based off the experience. So I hope that helps many of us parents out here, because I get this question very, very often, and I always hedge on answering it because there is no right or wrong way. This is just what I've done and what has worked for our family. And I hope that some of you out there who were not sure about what to do, or who have teens who are aging, I have a 13-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter. She just recently turned 18. And, at first I'm like, I don't know how to be a dad to an 18-year-old, And the truth is, you just continue to be that loving, caring dad like you've always been, but understanding that legally they have more freedom. And if you treat your children like human beings, not like adults, but like individuals who have freedom to make decisions, to have experiences, and not necessarily make mistakes, but have experiences that they can learn from. I don't like to call them mistakes because it's not really a mistake sometimes. You think it wasn't the right thing, but it might have been right for them. And at least for them, they got an opportunity to learn from it. I had a friend recently that called me just yesterday, had an incident with their child. And, their child got into a bad situation, and I was trying to remind them, like, hey, listen, it's an experience. It's an experience for the whole family. It's an experience, for your child. But we have to give them the space because we know we believe our kids are good kids. And if we're the best examples, then we know our kids are going to do the right things. In the end, they're going to do the right things, or at least what's right by our standards, but they're going to make the choice that's best for them in that moment. And we have to trust them and trust their process just as we have trusted our own. So that's a wrap for the Go Be Great podcast. I'm so grateful for your time and attention. It was truly, truly a pleasure to serve you. God bless you, and go be great.